Hi, I'm Matt Quiett, and I'm from Nerds Domain, and you're listening to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Awesome.
This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
This is Mike White at I am Mike White on Twitter.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast.
Well, here we are talking about Summer of Sandler Part 5.
God damn it.
No, you don't like that? Easy, Vader.
Yeah, my Vader, no.
Tiny, I can't really hear you that well in my headphones.
You son of a bitch.
I can't really...
Let me turn you up a little.
Yeah, if you could.
Is that better? Can you hear me better now?
Not really. Mike, can you hear him clearly?
No.
Yeah, I can hear him just fine.
Okay, hopefully it's picking up all right. Anyway, so how's it going, guys?
It's good. Things are good. It's good to be over the Summer of Sandler hump. I feel like we're finally getting down to a regular episode, kind of doing what we used to do.
Yeah, it's definitely, man, that was such a thing. Such
a great time.
It was a great time, except for the stupid audio issues.
I think we pulled it off. I mean, as difficult as it was to watch those damn movies most of the time, I think we got some good content.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was saying at the end when we were summing up, I don't think it deserves that level of analysis, but I'm really glad we did it. Like, I wanted to clarify, like, I think that's a debate that so many people have. Like, does Sandler suck, or was he ever,
Right.
So I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was a fun summer project.
The recordings were fun.
Yeah.
The research, not so much.
Right.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking about Mike, you mentioning we should do a Kubrick one. You being so excited about doing a Kubrick one, I should say. No, but
making you excited to do one?
No, I just know how excited you would be to do one.
Oh, that just thrills me to no end.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'll tell you what, I did. Sorry to interject. I did. I spent last weekend with my brother. We recorded with my brother last weekend, and so he kind of had me make a list of essentials for Shocktober.
Oh, nice.
He's got a little more free time than he has in the past, and so he wanted me to make a list of movies that are kind of the essential Shocktober movies, and I actually put The Shining on it.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Because I think it needs to be seen. It's not necessarily for me, but I think it's an essential for sure.
And like you said, you use it in class, at least the trailer.
It's a tonal masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
I've said that. Tonal, not total masterpiece.
Well, I'll edit it so it sounds like you said total.
How very objective of you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I try to be.
Yeah.
Good brother.
I can recognize it, and I think he'll like it. I think he'll have the same experience I did. Our parents.
Oh, we just lost Mike.
Oh, Mike.
Connecting. Okay, it just cut you out completely. You're back now. Mike,
something going on. You there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think he had the same experience I did. Our parents went on a ski trip one time, and our babysitter let us watch it when we were far too young to be watching it.
Nice.
Classic.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Nice.
We'll get more into that in Shocktober.
Yeah.
Which I need to mark down some episode ideas. Because I have some in my head, but I don't know. We'll talk about that. We can talk about that off the air, but
Speaking of Shocktober,
yes.
Shocktober in Irvington.
Yes.
Plans
we are
made.
Planning that so hard right now.
We have commitments from John Carpenter and Wes Craven so far. We're working on some others.
That's not true. Although if you're in the Indianapolis area, maybe it will be. So come to it. Yeah, and I keep mentioning this. We have ShocktoberInIrvington.com. We have that domain. I can't figure out how to point it to the Shocktober in Irvington page, so it just takes you to Obsessive Viewer, but there is a tab with all the necessary information, and there's links to the Facebook page and all that stuff. But yeah, it's going to be at the Irving Theater on October 17th. Doors will be open at 6 p.m., but we're talking about getting a deal with Blackacre Brewery in Irvington to have like a happy hour special before the event. So just follow us on Facebook and we'll keep you abreast of all the details and everything. And if you're listening to this and happen to know someone in the area who has a short film that they would like us to screen, let us know, because we're still looking for a couple more to fill out the roster, but they are going to go very quickly. So let us know as soon as you can.
Yeah, should be awesome. That kind of leads me to something I wanted to say. Our good friends at Hoi Polloi were on the show a little while ago. Listeners might remember. Mm-hmm. And they unfortunately were not able to get their horror short done for this project. But I did want to say that yesterday they released their 30-minute special that they were talking about, Appalachian Vice. And yours truly actually has a cameo.
Nice.
In the short. So it's really, really hilarious. It's a feature, or it's an episode length feature, and then they have, parody commercials and joke commercials. So check it out. You can find them at Hoi Polloi Vids. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, any of the regular places. It's really, really funny.
Awesome. And all the links will be in the show notes as always, and on the lyrics section of the audio file. So and on that note, more announcements. I apologize. This is not so much music related, but one of the guys from Hoi Polloi is actually one of my oldest friends. We've been buddies since we were 12, and we just started a new musical project called As Good as It Gets. Yes.
And we'll be rolling stuff out soon. We actually have about 10 songs recorded, and we're kind of just sitting on them, waiting for excitement to build. We've got a pretty cool announcement coming out in about a week, so.
Sweet.
Look forward to that.
It's going to be all Jack Nicholson based songs, right?
Us Kubrick.
Nice.
Actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, that's exciting. I've probably told this before on the podcast, but you were in a band called Thank You Jade when I met you freshman year of college, and I knew you were in a band. We talked over AIM or something before the school year, and then I listened to the music, and I was like, I'm so happy that I actually really like this music, because that would have made for a really awkward year. But yeah, and it's great. So I'm obviously just really excited anytime you have any kind of musical things
thanks, man. I'm glad.
In the work. So I'm excited for this. And
yeah, it's a funny thing to talk about, because you say, I'm a teacher now, and I do this podcast, and those are kind of my jobs. But you say, "Oh, I used to be in a band," and people are like, "Oh, okay, that's cool, whatever." But we actually did some stuff. We were on the radio several times, and so we kind of did some big things. So we were tooting my own horn. I think we were pretty good, and I think this new stuff's gonna be pretty good too.
Sweet, cool. Can't wait.
Yeah,
of course, links in the show notes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So this week on the podcast, you referenced it's one of your jobs. So let's get to work.
Shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this week on the podcast, since we're coming off of Summer of Sandler, and that actually closed the book on our summer season, if we're even really counting seasons anymore in the tags for the episodes. I count seasons, but we don't really have season finales or anything. But this is pretty much the start of our fall. And since we're kind of coming off of Summer Sandler and this big project, we're just going to do an extended potpourri for you guys, since we haven't really had a chance to really do a proper potpourri recently. And whenever we do, I kind of seem to just think at the last minute of something that I wanted to bring up and then completely forgot about. So who wants to get us kicked off on this extended potpourri?
Well, one thing I think we can talk about, we all saw As Above, So Below, right?
Yeah.
We did.
You don't say that with much excitement, Matt.
And I'm going to sound like such a downer, as I have been lately, because
really
I've been down on so many movies lately. You can just...
Yeah, you need to see a good movie.
Yeah, it's as evidenced, I can't do that. Anyway, as evidenced by the summer wrap-up episode we did. But I don't know. As Above, So Below just did nothing for me. And I fully 100% admit that it may have been my circumstance with seeing it, because it was a Saturday night, kind of a late showing. It was a day after I spent all day helping my girlfriend move, and there were people like 3 rows behind us. Tiny can attest to this because he was there, talking the entire movie, like the most not anything pertinent or anything. It was just or even reactionary. It was mostly reactionary, but it was like the worst kind of reactionary. It was like, oh, he said that, or oh, it's gonna be her dad, or oh, that's thing, don't go down there. Just that kind of stuff, just throughout the entire movie. Like, if you were to play back this entire section where me talking, that's pretty much the level to which they were talking throughout the movie.
And sometimes that sucks. Sometimes it enhances the experience. Did I, when we talked about theater experiences episode, did I talk about my Friday the 13th experience?
I don't think so, but you mentioned it last week before.
I did.
After
you guys mind if I share?
Oh,
Please.
Go right ahead. It's awesome.
Please.
So I remember the date. I'm good at dates, but I also remember the date because it was a Friday the 13th, because the movie was Friday the 13th, 2009, the remake. And so we decided to see this movie at like an 8:00 or a 7:30 on a Friday, which I will never do again for a movie that is that important to me. And so it was, the usual things, the texting, the answering phone calls, the talking, the walking around. It was crazy. But, There was one awesome moment in the movie, and I will never forget this, and it actually made the experience. So there's the scene kind of as the action starts to ramp up a little bit. So Jason kind of tomahawk throws an axe at this guy, hits the guy in the back with the axe. The guy falls in a stump, and then it just cuts immediately. Scene cut to Jason standing on a roof. Okay. It's very non sequitur. It's very strange. And so this happens. And at this time in the movie, when the action starts to ramp up, people are actually behaving themselves quite well. So it's kind of quiet. In fact, when Jason throws the axe and kills the guy, it's almost somber because he was kind of a favorite character. So, it's dead quiet in the theater. There's a couple of kids up at the back, and they've kind of been talking the whole time. So Jason is standing there. He throws his axe, hits the guy at the back. The guy falls, slumps over the stump. Cut to Jason is standing on the roof, and the guy in the back of the theater stands up and goes, "How the f*** he get up there?" and the thing is, like, we were all thinking, how the f*** did he get up there? It's like nobody was mad at this guy because it's like, that's a good question.
That's so great. That reminds me of the Key and Peele sketch where they show like Key and Peele are in the theater, and it's a play on kind of the stereotypical like talking during the theater, and they're talking during the movie, but they're saying like things pertinent to the movie. They're saying like, why would you go into a tracking shot in this scene or what or something? Yeah. And there was one thing that was like, oh yeah, big scare there. I haven't seen that since Nosferatu, and there was
awesome.
One other one that was
almost like chit chatting during movies with snobbery.
Yeah, and then the end of the sketch is there's this couple in front of them, and then like the girl's like, "Why? Will you say something?" And he's like, well, they're making good points. So it's really funny. It's a really funny sketch. If it's on YouTube, I'll throw it in the show notes. But it's talking during movies is just like, I made the remark to my coworker who I actually referenced in the last Sandler episode. My coworker Mike, I was telling him about that, and then I made the remark that if you talk during a movie, if you are obnoxious and talk during a movie and interrupt the viewing experience for someone on a continuous basis throughout the entire thing, I know enough.
Deserve to die.
I know enough about you to form an opinion. I don't need to know anything more about you. 'Cause you're just an ass. Yeah. And like, I mean, I was thinking during the movie the entire time, and we'll get to actually talking about the movie here in a minute, but I was thinking during the movie, like, I was thinking, like, what would I do? Like, what could I wish that there was like a button or something that I could press that would just tase the shit out of them. And it annoyed me so much, but the movie itself, I mean, like I said, I was really tired from a long day, and then as soon as it started, and the funny thing is that I was the one that was excited to see this. Tiny didn't even really want to see it that much. So as it started, I realized, I remembered that it was found footage. Now, I've been a proponent of the found footage format for many years, for far too long. And I had a surprising reaction when I noticed it was found footage. It was just, it's found footage. And I just
was it just me, or was it shakier than usual? Am I getting old, or did you guys get nauseous a little bit at the beginning?
I think it was the setting, because it was a confining setting. I think this is what amplified it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, you're old.
There is that. Yeah.
I was too busy trying to figure out how to tase these bitches behind me. So and that's the thing. I was just so unaffected by it because I was just in such a weird mood. I was not in the proper mood to watch this movie. And it just, because of that, the entire movie was just completely ruined for me. The entire experience was just, I was unaffected by the entire movie. I couldn't get into the story. I couldn't get into the characters or anything. I will say the scene with the bones where the guy's stuck was the one scene that was effective on me.
Mm-hmm. I would say even if you were in a good mood, it wouldn't have helped you all that much.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on the movie, Mike?
Kind of similar. Well, not really similar. I didn't have a group of people behind me talking.
Right.
But I felt like the first 45 minutes was super exposition heavy. Mm-hmm. It kind of felt like National Treasure or one of the Dan Brown movies or something like that. But the last 45 minutes or so I thought was pretty effective. It's hard to scare me. I think I've said that 100 times on this show before. So really it takes effective images to get some kind of emotion out of me. And there were a few effective images, I thought. I won't spoil them. It's a little too early to spoil them. But like you said, the point where he was crawling through the bones was very claustrophobic and very, very effective. It worked on me. I found myself being scared watching the movie in a way that I had never been before, in a new way, really. And so some of it was interesting. The end of the movie left me feeling like I'll never see that movie again, but I wasn't angry that I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Tiny?
Yeah, they in that scene where he's crawling through the bones, I think they just captured the terror really well. The guy didn't overact, which is kind of a staple of horror sometimes. So the guy didn't overact, and you could feel the pressure. So yeah, that was kind of the highlight of the movie for me as well. The people talking kind of enhanced. At one point I was paying closer attention to the people talking than I was the movie, just how they were reacting. At one point there's a phone ringing, and it's just like I was like counting in my head how many stereotypes they were hitting, for this one scene. So it kind of made it better for me. It's funny. Matt said I didn't really want to see the movie, but I think I ended up having a better time with it than he did. And I really appreciated the mythology of it. I thought it was kind of a fun thing. Sort of a Dante's Inferno kind of thing. The whole, polar opposites thing, as above, so below. Yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool concept. And I could feel that, but it wasn't really effectively scary for me that much. And I am not a fan of caves either. So I don't like going in them or anything. I'll do it. It's not like an irrational fear, but I'm just not a fan of being in them. And so I felt it a little bit, but I don't think they really focused on that in the movie. So I don't know if we were really supposed to feel it that much.
Right.
I'll give them also that they didn't make any noticeable plot mistakes that B horror movies of that caliber are wont to do. I thought it was well done. Maybe not in terms of the scares, and we've kind of said that before, but in terms of plot, it was pretty airtight.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. It was just something. I can't really speak to it that much. Just because I feel like I didn't even really watch the movie, so I'll shut up now.
I think we're pulling a Sandler here and giving it too much time.
Yeah. So wait for part 2 of, I don't know.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I saw last night though, guys. I got to see for the second time in theaters Ghostbusters.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. It was awesome. And Matt, you got to see it with me the first time, right?
I did, yes, and that was the first movie you saw with your now wife.
Yeah, yeah. And she went last night. Passed the tests again. She goes, I forgot how funny that movie was. And she goes, Bill Murray with those one-liners. And I was like, exactly.
Thanks for the invite, by the way. That's cool. I thought that was our thing as three of us, but whatever. Yeah. That's cool.
You thought about making the 3-hour trek?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it not playing up by you guys?
It is. It is.
Gotcha. It was cool. It was not as fun. When you and I saw it 3 years ago, it was a one night only, and it was kind of an event.
Oh, yeah. And it was packed, too.
What's that?
It was packed, too, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a full house. Yeah, definitely. And last night, there was, if I include me, my wife, and Jake, if I include the three of us, there were 3 people in the theater.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Really?
But it was playing for a week, and this was on a Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's still pretty cool, though. It was just the 3 of you.
It was cool. We were all pretty super tired. It was kind of late for people that wake up at 5 a.m, but
right.
It was a blast. I mean, I enjoyed every bit of it from beginning to end.
Awesome.
Yeah. I love, one of my favorite things about 80s comedies is that you can still, even now as a close to 30-year-old man, I can go back and see those movies and be surprised by things that, I thought I've seen the movie enough times to not miss anything. But like, I was looking at the magazines last night and the Newsweek covers, and when there's the montage of them kind of coming up, and it says something about, do ghosts have civil rights or something like that? And I laughed pretty loud at that. That's funny.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I loved it just as much as I always have.
Sweet. So, Tiny, what have you been watching lately?
I just wanted to bring up 2 things real quick. Well, one of them is real quick. Falling Skies recently ended. The 4th season ended, and I have high hopes for that show, and unfortunately, it's just not going to ever meet them.
Really?
I wanted it to be a really good show, but it had one really good season. So, this season they had a great potential storyline about like a hybrid human, hybrid alien being that was just completely dropped and just a squandered story. So, I don't know. I really want to like. What's his name?
Noah Wyle?
Noah Wyle, thank you. Dr. Carter from from ER. I really want to like him, and I do most of the time. It's just I don't know. I wish he could get on some better stuff.
Over the years, you watched that show from the beginning, didn't you?
Watched it from the beginning.
Yeah, and it's so funny to me because we talk a lot about TV shows and movies we watch. Just part of the reason we started the podcast. So it's funny to me because I hardly ever hear you talk about Falling Skies.
I know, it's because you don't watch it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's still like, I understand that, but it's just so, like, I saw somewhere that it was airing, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that it was even on the air right now. Yeah. And it's funny to me because, like, I'll talk to you about that you don't watch all the time, and it's not like you're bothered by it or that you're annoyed by it or that you're giving me just really mean looks right now. But it's just funny to me that it's seems like a movie or a show that's not really. It's surprising that you still watch it, judging from what little I've heard from you about it.
Right, and the large reason is because I think both my parents watch it.
Oh, okay,
and so we also talk about it a lot, and so I think that's maybe why I don't force it on you.
That makes sense.
So, and plus, it's not really too noteworthy of a show.
Right.
The second season was actually quite good, but it has not. Okay. It has not kept that momentum. So thankfully, next season is the last season. Hopefully, they can pull out some good stuff for that. So, and then just kind of quickly, I wanted to talk about a documentary I watched.
Nerd. I'm sorry.
It's called Particle Fever, and it was really cool. It was kind of like an all access camera crew to basically the discovery of the God particle.
The Higgs Boson?
The Higgs Boson
at the Large Hadron Collider?
Yeah, if you let me say it.
Sorry.
Yeah, at CERN, which is in Sweden.
Is it Sweden? Yeah, I think. Is it?
Sweden.
It's one of those.
Europe. And,
not America.
Europe. And it was I had high hopes for it just because they filmed the discovery of the God particle.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, dude, this is going to be freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It was actually just okay.
Really?
I was a little bit let down by it. It was interesting to see how one of the most interesting things about that experiment is how international it is. Excuse me. I think there's scientists there from over 100 different countries, which is just really amazing that, something so, it's the largest experiment ever conducted. It's the hardest experiment ever conducted. It's just great that there's so many pieces of our species involved with it. And that's just a cool thing that they focused on. And they kind of showed how some of these scientists live. Being a part of the experiment it's literally like a lifestyle.
Oh,
being
wow.
a part of it. It's just really cool. And just, they demonstrated well the scale of it and how just one tiny little mistake can just set back the entire thing for months and months. Like there was just a tiny bolt missing on one of the magnets and they had to shut down for months to clean everything and get everything working. It was pretty incredible to see, but I was just slightly let down by the sentiment around it. Okay. I guess. It was, but I still recommend seeing it just because it's such a monumental moment in human history. So I don't know. I just have a small qualm with it, really.
Okay.
So you guys might have a different experience if you see it.
What was it called again?
It's called Particle Fever. It is on Netflix and stuff.
Okay. So. Sweet. Yeah. The whole as a small tangent, the whole thing about one small setback and set it back for months. Before they started the final phase of testing, I guess. There was just a couple things that kept going wrong and everything. And as a joke, a couple scientists published a paper positing the theory that the reason that these things were happening was because finding the Higgs boson would cause a ripple effect that would destroy the universe, and that this was the universe preventing itself from happening. And I just love, as a fan of time travel, I love that they have that good humor to post that. Obviously, it's not. Obviously, it was just as a joke, but it was cool to see that kind of level of thing, and it made at least me a little bit more interested in it, and it's a cool way to bring this level of it's hyper science, the wibbly wobbly stuff, and to bring that
nerd,
to bring that to with that paper, they were able to bring that to a little bit more of a broader audience.
Yeah,
still nerds, but still.
Yeah, and it's really great how big of a sense of humor they have, because they would, of course, a big part of science is presenting your data, and so they had this meeting, and this guy put up a picture of just one section of the thing, and it's 5 stories tall. Yeah, that's how tall it is to collect this antimatter. He's like, okay, so here's the collection area. This is the spare. The other one is on the other side. It's great that they have such a good sense of humor about it. Yeah. And I didn't realize how significant the discovery was to science, which is kind of a weird sentence. But basically the way that they ran the experiment, which was essentially a matter of seconds long, but what's so hard about it is they had to sort through all this data, right. And it took months and months and months, and then they presented their data to see if they actually found the Higgs boson. And the way they found that is by measuring its weight. And so if it weighed too little, it would actually disprove physics.
Wow.
All the physics that we've discovered as a species would be disproved by it.
Jesus.
It was really interesting. And if it was too heavy, it would mean, I can't remember what it would mean, because there's just so much information.
We're all going to die, pretty much.
I can't remember what it was. But I just didn't realize how significant it was. And thankfully, it was right in the middle.
Nice.
So every single question that we have is still not answered at all. Of course, they discovered a lot of things, I'm not saying it's an insignificant thing, but, it was just funny. They were like, well, if it weighs 25, it was pretty. So
nice.
Definitely check it out. Yeah.
Sweet. I want to bring up, if you guys don't mind.
Please.
Couple of movies that I watched. I'll start with this one. I referenced it at the end of Sandler Forum. It may have been part of our post show talking, but I watched a movie called They Came Together, which is from David Wain, who did
which is a very difficult thing to do.
That's exactly where my mind went when Matt first told me about it.
It's funny because the premise of the movie is it's directed by David Wain, who did Wet Hot American Summer, which admittedly is a Gap movie of mine I still need to see.
There we go. There's your Gap movie.
Nice.
Very good. Yeah, I've seen it.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Okay, we got a
Love
Gap
it.
movie.
Awesome.
then.
Good movie.
Awesome. I did try to watch it one time when it was on Netflix. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore, but I tried to watch it, but the volume was really low. And even if I had it like my surround sound up to the max and I could barely hear it.
Sometimes that happens with my Netflix as well.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so they came together as his latest movie, and it's funny because the premise of the movie leads you to think that it would be that kind of dirty meaning behind the title.
I don't know. What do you mean?
Well, when colloquially,
When a man and a woman love each other.
Yeah. It's you know.
I'm
This
joking.
podcast went blue
Stop.
somewhere a couple months ago.
Ejaculation.
Stop.
Anyway.
I was joking.
Oh God. Anyway, but the title of the movie is a reference to it. It's a line in the movie. I won't give it away or anything, but it's the whole idea behind the movie. Like, I have not made any secret of my love for rom-coms. It's a guilty pleasure genre of mine. But I just love those kinds of movies, even horrible ones. Well, Failure to Launch is horrible, and so is Leap Year. Those are both just terrible movies that are irredeemably bad. But for the most part, the rom-com genre is something that I like. So They Came Together is a parody of these kinds of movies, and it's really, really funny. It stars Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler as the two, the couple in the movie. And it's basically they're at dinner with Bill Hader and Ellie Kemper, and they're basically going through the story of how they met and became an item. And it's like they're like, yeah, it sounds like it could be a good romantic comedy movie, and like, so it's self-referential that way, and it's meta that way, and it's just, it hits so many points. It hits all the major points of a formulaic romantic comedy, but it does so with such a tongue-in-cheek meta humor. It's really well done. I can't speak really that highly enough about it, so I think everyone should seek it out and see it if they're into that kind of movie. There's several really good gags that are just, I can't say anything without giving stuff away, so I'll shut up and just tell you guys to watch it because it's really funny.
Cool.
And the cast is amazing.
I love that whole crew, the David Wain crew. I love their style.
Sure.
Oh,
Did you guys see Wanderlust?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was really funny.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Oh yeah. Have you seen the outtakes of Paul Rudd in the mirror?
Oh yeah.
It's so funny.
Put my dick in
My dick.
my dick.
So awesome.
Yeah.
But the other movie that I want to talk about that I think we're going to have a lively discussion about, I don't think Tiny's seen it yet. I watched it last night specifically for this episode because I know Mike has seen it, but A Million Ways.
I'm excited.
Yeah. A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh, no, I'm not excited.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the first movie I watched after we wrapped up our Sandler, like actual, like recording our Sandler episode and releasing it and everything. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go with a comedy I'm gonna cleanse my palate of Sandler with a comedy that
was good. What is your thinking here?
That was my thought process going into it. I knew that it wasn't going to be that good, but I thought, okay, well, it's at least going to be a step up from Sandler.
Didn't I tell you otherwise?
You did, and I mean, I should have trusted you, but I thought, Ted was okay. But man, this movie was maybe a smidge above a Sandler comedy.
It's okay. Let's be careful here.
Mm-hmm.
It is better than Jack and Jill.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than That's My Boy. It's better than Grown Ups 2.
So I have a theory about Seth MacFarlane.
Do what?
Joke. I was like, I have a theory about Seth MacFarlane in this movie.
Oh, shut up.
I love it. No, this.
I had lots of theories about Seth MacFarlane.
it was just not funny. It was, not only was it not funny, but it really pointed out to me the Seth MacFarlane brand of comedy. Like the movie is set in the Old West, and it's more about him pointing out why the Wild West was a horrible time period and all that. And it's
he called it a time travel movie without the time travel.
Yeah.
And that was very confusing for me,
right.
Even in the movie.
Yeah, I completely forgot that he said that.
I think we call that a period piece.
Right. And it was
Well, no. His point is that this character almost feels out of time.
And
Gotcha.
yeah, and he plays it that way, and it's so it was so random to me. Like why? Okay, so he's a coward. Oh, we just lost Mike. Okay,
I'm back.
Okay, so it was just like he's a coward. All right, he's justifying his cowardice by pointing out why this time period is horrible. But it felt more like Seth MacFarlane was just sitting there telling us, he's pitching us a movie about why it would be funny to make a movie about the Wild West instead of having a movie. It took me out of the movie that the character was so out of time, and it was so stupid too.
Yeah. There were a few jokes. I can't remember them. I'll tell you. I thought was kind of funny was when he talks about why people never smile in pictures.
Yeah, that
was kind of funny.
That was a running gag that I actually appreciated. That I thought that was pretty funny.
The worst thing, and we said this before, was the spoiled
cameo.
I'll just say it. Back to the Future reference.
Yeah,
because it was spoiled in the trailers.
And I think the only reason I would have liked it in the movie is if it was a surprise, because it was so out of place. So
yes, absolutely.
So just it was like Seth MacFarlane is known to do. He just makes a standalone reference, and it's like he's borrowing the acclaim or respect of the thing he's referencing, and then piggybacking off of it. Because people love Back to the Future. Yeah, people love Back to the Future. They're going to see Doc Brown in the DeLorean, and they're going to think, oh, this is good because they have that in this movie. And
you just explained Family Guy.
Exactly. And Family Guy didn't start that way. Family Guy was respectable in the beginning, but then it got to this point where they stopped making references and started making parodies of these things. Like I just saw an episode today where the I forget which episode it is, but there's a cutaway where it's literally Peter reenacting the beginning of Back to the Future, and the punchline of it is that he turns to the camera or whatever and says and sings the last bit of Power of Love. And I'm like, this is not a punchline, this is not a joke, this is filler for the episode. And
yeah,
it's a shame that Seth MacFarlane has reappropriated that brand of writing and stuff into his movie making whatever.
They nailed the trailer. The trailers made it look great.
It did.
Yep.
It really did.
I think Mike mentioned that last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
trailers made me see the movie.
I'm still gonna see it.
Yeah, good luck.
I've always wanted to see Liam Neeson in like a big comedy.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Not a spoiler or anything.
Careful
but
there.
He's not in it that much.
Really?
And that's one of the problems that I had with the movie also. I may write a full review for the website, I'm not sure. But structurally, it was nonsense. Like, it's about maybe 50 minutes into the movie where 50 minutes into an hour and 55-minute movie where they introduce like the big like plot of the episode of the movie.
Uh-huh.
And 50 minutes and then about an hour and 18 minutes is where that is concluded. And then for hour 18 to hour 55 is this secondary plot line that wasn't adequately set up. It's structurally, it's just a mess to me. I was like, it didn't hold my attention because it didn't flow in a competent way.
It's certainly on the list, and it might be my worst movie of the year.
Yeah, I can
by the
see
time
that.
the year's over. And I'll tell you, here's my Amanda reference for the week. She gave Tammy a pass and gave what else? She gave something else a pass, but she did not like this movie.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Guess I can't see it then. And so I also love when Liam Neeson uses his native Irish accent, like in the trailer, and he's just like, someone in this town is going to die. Like, I love it.
Yeah. There's kind of and there's a cameo in that scene that it's really random, but I was just like, okay, yeah, sure. So yeah, then Mike, what else you got?
We went to Horrorhound last weekend.
We did, yes.
That was fun.
It was fun.
Herschel charged me $20 to record a message to my students.
Okay, let me clarify this. Scott Wilson didn't charge you for it. His handler did.
His handler.
And that was hilarious.
He looked at his handler for guidance.
Yeah. It was. He seemed really friendly and really happy to be there and really like excited about it and everything. So I get the sense of like if you saw him in like the hallway or something and asked him, I feel like he would have obliged you without charging you. But
maybe.
It was just so funny to see, like in those settings. I like conventions and everything, but it's just funny to see how much of a cash grab it is for them. Because it was funny that you could see the wheels turning in his handler's head, like $20.
$20.
Yeah, and it was just like,
and I'm kicking myself because I didn't realize until like yesterday I texted you, that he was kind of the old timer in Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that to you because
I don't know what I was thinking because I could have got him to sign something and then maybe do the video for free. So I got a little bit out of it because I've said on the podcast before, I'm not a Walking Dead fan. That was purely for my students.
Yeah. And the funny thing about my Horrorhound experience was that I'm not really I'm a zombie fan. I'm not a Walking Dead fan. The show, it has its peaks and valleys. It has many more valleys than it has peaks. And I'm really only watching it now because, I love Greg Nicotero's work. But in the whoa, there was a big echo there. But I got a Blu-ray signed from Scott Wilson. I got a Blu-ray signed for season 3 of Walking Dead, which we're actually going to give away at Shocktober in Irvington. Which links in the show notes. Please come to it. It's our first like big event that we're doing, and it's going to be a blast. So don't miss out on it. But anyway, and I got a picture taken with him, and it's funny because I was wearing my Obsessive Viewer shirt. And I posted this on the Facebook page, but like his assistant or handler or whatever you want to call her, she took 3 pictures on my phone because I at first had the Blu-ray to my side, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put the Blu-ray in the picture. And then the second picture was like I felt like it was obscuring the Obsessive Viewer logo, and I was like, no, I want to have my logo in the picture. So I lowered the Blu-ray down a little bit, and that's the one that I put in the thing. But there's 3 pictures on my phone. That's just the process of me wanting to get my brand out there.
And it's funny, I think someone commented on it. They said, like, Scott Wilson looks way happier than you do.
Yeah. Our friend Molly mentioned that, and I was like, yeah, and it's because I'm not really that big a fan. I mean, he seemed really friendly, and he was like he was really nice and everything, but I'm just like, man, there was a big moment with him in this season that is one of my favorite moments in the comics. I'll say that, but anyway,
yeah, I didn't even like him on the show.
I thought he did I thought he was a good Herschel. I really did.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I just hate the show so much. The award for sweetest convention guest of all time, Scout Taylor Compton.
She was awesome. And I didn't even talk to her. I was just watching you talk to her.
Dropping eaves all over our conversation. So I was super excited because the big I guess the feature guest was the guy from Hannibal. That was kind of weird. And then the Walking Dead folk.
Mm-hmm.
But the kind of, they always have like a reunion type of thing and they do a panel. The big one was Rob Zombie's Halloween this year. Rob Zombie was not there. That would have been amazing if he was.
Oh yeah.
But, so they had the obviously the actors from, Rob Zombie's Halloween, and they had, Tyler Maine, who is the giant Michael Myers from both the Halloween movies. They had Dag Farch, who is the kid, and they had Christina Klebe, who is Linda in the movie, and then they also had Scout Taylor Compton, who plays Laurie from the movie. And they also had Dee Wallace. Which was pretty cool for me. I didn't even think about it at first. I was like, oh yeah, she's Laurie's mom. Oh, she was in E.T. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I stood in line for a long time for Scout Taylor Compton and got up and talked to her for a long time. It was kind of cool. She didn't even realize that I wanted something signed because our conversation was just so in depth and amazing. So anyway, I brought up to her a theory that I have. I felt like such a big dork.
And it was funny. So to cut in really quickly, you said in while we were in line, you were like, would it be too nerdy to bring this up to her? And
yeah.
I was like,
and then I go, oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was like, and you're not going to see her again probably. So it's not, go ahead, go nuts.
And now they're engaged.
Somebody said, well, it's not like you're asking her out on a date. And I was like, I'd rather ask her out on a date.
Right. And then I made the joke to Tiny about that when we were going over to Kevin's last weekend. I was like, and in that moment I was just like, you. Because it's so hard for me to ask a girl. Like it's a wonder that I even got my girlfriend.
But you're a ladies' man now.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, enough about you. Back to Scout and me. Speaking of ladies' man, yeah, right. So anyway, I'm married. I love my wife.
Right.
I'm lost. So anyway, so Scout Taylor Compton, right? And so I have this theory about Halloween 2. So I walked up to her and it was finally my turn. I said, do you mind if I ask you an incredibly nerdy question here? I guess I'm kind of going to show my horror nerd hand. And she's like, yeah, of course. I mean, what was she really going to say?
Right.
So I said to her that I believe, and I'm not the only one that believes, there are people on the internet that believe that in the original script for Halloween 2, 2009 Halloween 2, her character, Laurie, is doing all the killings in the movie. And that the end, with the juxtaposition of the two of them and that their blood, their family is kind of the point of the whole thing, that no matter how hard she tries, she can't escape the fact that they're family. And there are a lot of kind of symbols and nods to the fact that she might be doing some of the killings. Cut to after the movie came out, Rob Zombie has said on record several times that he would not do a third one. And they asked why, and he said, well, I'm not going to tell you why, because you wouldn't believe me if I told you. So I wonder if there was some production company issues that kind of said, we will not have our survivor girl be the killer in this movie. And so Scout said no. She said she hadn't heard that. She said it would be awesome if that were the case, but she said she hadn't heard it. So, but I still believe it. I don't know. Who's to say? Right. She can't know.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Tiny, what do you make of that?
I was unable to go to Horrorhound.
Right.
Yeah, I watched Halloween 2, the zombie one, Rob Zombie one.
Mm-hmm.
Is there do you find any merit in my argument?
I was gonna say I don't remember the movie. As much as I love Zombie's first Halloween movie, I can't really remember the sequel that well. I might have to watch it this Shocktober and say I'll get back to you, Mike.
I was gonna say I would say that it's relatively forgettable, except the dream sequence at the beginning is incredibly well done.
Yeah, isn't that where they pretty much mimic the original Halloween 2?
It's Halloween 2 in like 10 minutes.
Right, yeah. I really liked that sequence. I need to watch it again.
Another theater story. So I'm seeing this in 2009, and it's a dream sequence, and so he's doing all the killing. It's the best part of the whole thing. It's one of the most brutal killings I've ever seen. And it ends, and Laurie wakes up, and a woman in the back of the theater goes, oh, this! And she walked out.
She walked out?
She walked out.
Oh, my God. That is
I don't know if it was like too much for her, or she just didn't like that it was a dream. I don't know which, but
that's awesome.
She walked out.
Man, walking out of a movie like today, it's $10, $11 to go see a movie now.
Yeah,
and it's funny because I have stories about that. One is I walked out of Return of the King just because like 20 minutes into the movie, I was like, it was a cramped theater. There was like I didn't have like personal space. Like there, like people were next to me I didn't know, and I just felt weird because I'm really
You're Matt.
I'm a crazy person. So I walked out of that, but I'm sure to get my money back or get an emergency pass like all the time. I don't waste money at movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when I saw Warm Bodies, I know I mentioned this probably on the one of the theater experiences movies or episodes, but I wanted to walk out of Warm Bodies because I was having intense abdomen pain that ended up being gallstones. So I
thought it was like a nice way of saying you had to take a big poop.
No. It was just agony. And I remember like checking my phone throughout the movie, thinking like, and I was there with friends, and we had just eaten dinner and all that, and it was like kind of a just a night out, and I was like, I don't want to just leave. And because I don't talk during movies, so I can't just say like, oh hey guys, I'm not feeling well, I'm gonna leave. So I kept checking my phone, knowing the runtime of the movie. I'm like, all right, I have until this point to go and get an emergency pass. I was like, I could probably tough it out, and I kept checking and all that, but I ended up staying for the whole movie. And then again, back in January, it happened again when me and Tiny and our friends saw Her. The only downside of that is that I didn't drive that night, so I had to stay. But I still loved the movie. So, and Warm Bodies was okay. But anyway, yeah. So in talking about Halloween 2, that just makes me so excited for the box set.
Oh yeah. Do you have yours pre-ordered?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. I just need to make sure I have money in my account in a couple weeks.
Yep. I've been going through. We're kind of dipping into Shocktober a little bit, but I don't care. We're close.
Right? Yeah.
I've been going through the internet and trying to collect as many copies of Halloween as possible. It's kind of a joke, because I bought the 15 disc, and some friends at work were like, "Okay, so how many copies of Halloween does that make?" And I was like, I had never really thought about it, and I was like, that's actually 6 copies. So
Jeez.
I've been going and buying like the VHSs. I really want to get the laser disc of it.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I just want to. I don't know.
Yeah, it's collectible. Yeah.
The one thing that kills me is I had it on UMD.
Oh wow!
A couple years ago, and I sold it.
Oh.
Or I traded it in to get like Arkham Asylum on PS3 or something like that.
UMD, to clarify, UMD is the PSP thing, right?
Universal Media Disc.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I'd say that's almost as obsolete as like Laserdisc. Maybe even more.
Absolutely.
Probably more.
It's more
so.
obsolete. Yeah.
More obsolete than Beta, probably.
Yeah. That said, it's like $20 on eBay now.
Really? As a collectible, I'm with money, but yeah, that sounds.
Most people don't have a way to play it.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just hate myself that I had it and now I don't.
Yeah, that's a pain.
Right.
Tiny, what do you got next? Anything?
Yeah, up next, this is almost a rant, but I know that both of you have strong opinions on it as well.
Okay.
It's this whole phenomenon. It's not a phenomenon. It's just a thing that happens. There's this thing that happens now where these huge movies are coming out and they're hugely hyped before they ever come out. And of course the internet has a lot to do with it. But basically we get like leaks about these movies, and right now it's Episode 7, Star Wars, and Batman vs Superman.
Oh yeah.
It's like almost every other day we get some kind of quote leak. It's like, oh, this is a picture of the Batmobile. That was a big one this week, the Batmobile. And I guess like today maybe, or no, it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday because
the day before yesterday.
Yeah, it was Tuesday because J.J. Abrams was tweeting about the iWatch, which, or I can't remember what it's called, the Apple Watch, that, cause Apple had their big thing they do every year, their press thing, to talk about the iPhone 6 and the iWatch. And so he tweeted about it, and I didn't read this, but apparently he revealed some kind of leak, some kind of secret detail about Episode 7. And it's like a headline article.
Yeah.
Like, it annoys me because I just feel like, 20 years ago we didn't have that. Like, I didn't want to see the Batmobile.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see what it looks like. I don't want to know. I didn't want to hear about the Millennium. Apparently, a helicopter flew over something, the set of Star Wars 7, and they snapped a bunch of pictures of the X-wing and the Millennium Falcon. I'm like, I don't want to see those pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand why they get leaked and why a lot of people want to see it, but I don't know. It just irks me as a huge movie fan that they're basically spoilers. It's like a spoiler before the movie even comes out, and I just wish it would stop, kind of, because I really want to stay in the dark for Episode 7. Batman vs Superman, I don't give a because it's Batman vs Superman.
Right.
The DC universe is kind of they're making horrible decisions. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys kind of agree with me.
I kind of go both ways. I see your point completely, and I try very hard to avoid spoilers with movies that are important to me. I've told you guys that I'm going in completely blind to Interstellar. Mm-hmm. I plug my ears, close my eyes whenever the trailer comes on. But I think, to their credit, the idea is they know some things are going to leak. And I think that their thinking is, if they do enough to whet your appetite, people won't try to leak other things. I think it's all very calculated. Here's this little bit of this, so you don't try to find, so the script doesn't leak online.
Yeah.
So you think most of it is strategic on the part of the studios or the filmmakers?
With Star Wars, it's 100% strategic. Yeah. Okay. And I'll even say with Zack Snyder and the Batman versus Superman, it's 100%.
I'll say this about the Star Wars stuff. J.J. Abrams is handling it really well. Mm-hmm. He had that note, I think it was after the Millennium Falcon stuff was released. I need to find it. I'll just find it really quickly. I'll edit this out. I'm sorry, guys.
I think it was a note on the hollow chest.
Yeah, and it was something like
inside the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, and it was really clever the way that he worded it, because he was like, I don't know anything about that, or he was it was very tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I don't need to find it, but it was very clever the way that he did it, and it seemed like tailored to his kind of personality. He's an icon, and he knows his audience, and he knows he's very humorous about it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Tiny. The question is, how much is too much?
Right. Yeah. And I wonder what, like you mentioned that you're staying blind with Interstellar. Which is the bigger dedication as a fan? Is it seeking out every single detail you can find, or is it waiting to...
Sorry, I lost you guys.
What I was saying, what is the greater dedication as a fan? What is the greater demonstration of your fandom for this thing? Is it waiting,
knowing everything first?
Yeah. Is it waiting and trying to make that first experience the best it can possibly be, or is it searching out every single possible detail you can find before?
I'm sure it depends on who you ask.
It's totally just a subjective thing. There's no right answer.
Yeah, it comes down to what you feel about spoilers in general. There are people that I will never understand who seek out spoilers for things like heavy spoilers before they see it, because I think it's because they don't.
Didn't you do that with Scream 2?
No. And that I was going to make this point. With in terms of spoilers, the spoilers I'm talking about is people that are like, okay, what happens in this episode, or what's going to happen in this movie before they see the movie, like purposely spoiling it themselves, and it's something I can never understand. But with like when you mentioned Scream 2, like I've sought out all kinds of information about it because I wanted to know. I was very eager for the movie, but that was also when I was like a kid, and that seems like such a, I don't want to like marginalize people or whatever, but I mean, just have patience, man.
Yeah.
I like it's something that, to this point, if it's something that's dear to me, I'm not going to purposely find out information about it because I want to have my own personal experience about something. It just seems really, I hesitate to say this because I don't want to ruffle feathers, but it sounds just incredibly juvenile to get so excited about a picture of the Batmobile shrouded in darkness.
Yeah. I'll say what they're thinking, actually, in their defense, Tiny, the joke's on you, because you're going to see all that stuff in the trailer soon anyway. You know what I mean? The joke is that they think they're giving us a little bit so we don't look too deep, when really it's all stuff we're going to see later.
Very true, but it's about the timing for me, you know?
Yeah.
It's the trailer experience and then seeing the movie experience, as opposed to drawing all those emotions out over like a year and a half, like we're getting with this stuff.
And on a related but different note, I could not be less excited for Batman vs Superman.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's
and I'll just say again, the backlash over the Batfleck. Ben Affleck will be the best part about that movie.
Oh yeah.
And I am worried about what Zack Snyder will do to Ben Affleck's career.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I'm pretty curious to see Wonder Woman finally as well.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a fan. I know nothing
different
about
reasons.
her. I'm actually, you know what? I wasn't crazy about the casting of Gal Gadot,
right?
Or however you say her last name.
Yeah.
I don't think it's all. Again, I have no stake in it because I'm not a fan.
Right.
I would have chosen some other people. Olivia Munn.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if she has the acting talent to pull that off.
How dare you?
It's a Zack Snyder movie.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, and we only...
By the way, I hate Zack Snyder so much. Yeah, I don't know that I've made that clear.
I'm an apologist.
Winter of Snyder.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We only...
Let's do Kubrick.
I watched 2001 like 6 times.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to say, we only see it with this kind of stuff, this level of fandom. And what I mean by that is we're talking about Star Wars and Superman and Batman. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about, like, people will dedicate their lives to these things. They will have whole rooms in their houses dedicated to collecting things to this. They will take up real estate on their bodies by getting tattoos of these things. It is stuff that people are insanely passionate about. Right. You don't see it for the latest Woody Allen movie.
Yeah, they're established properties, and that's one of the things you guys were talking about when we talked about the Interstellar teaser last year. Because who cares about Interstellar as a teaser? Why are you teasing it? Because it's an original property.
Right.
I still stand by that teaser. I love just the way it's put together.
Yeah.
But I do understand what you guys are saying, that it's not an established property. Why are you drumming up interest? I mean, it's Nolan. It's going to sell, but... Yeah.
And let me say again, that there's no right or wrong answer. Like, if you want to seek that stuff out, by all means, of course, go for it, man. That's such the exact opposite of my feelings, that it's just...
Yeah.
It's interesting, just the polarity of it is interesting to me. Yeah. But I just don't.
I just hate that it's in our face so much.
Right. That's my point. Like I said, I didn't want to see the Batmobile, but I had to.
Yeah.
Because I can't just scroll past that picture fast enough on Facebook. You know.
And it's just superfluous stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the look of it, and people and this comes into just fanboyism and stuff. Like, they get into spats about, like, oh, this suit is going to be just horrible because of the way the shot is this photo is taken. It's, oh, this looks horrible. This is going to be, oh, this isn't the bat suit. This isn't Spider-Man's suit. I don't
think anybody's really worried about the bat suit.
I'm using that as an example.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I think that's one. I think people are actually excited about the bat suit.
Yeah.
That's just a symptom of the internet.
Yeah.
That's with literally anything on the internet. There's just the highest peaks and the lowest valleys. That's
true. Someone on Reddit posted a YouTube link to Jon Stewart, the first Daily Show back after 9/11. We're recording this on the 13th anniversary of 9/11. And they posted a link to the YouTube clip of Stewart's, like, first day back after 9/11 on the Daily Show, and his big monologue and about it and everything. And it's very heartfelt and everything, because he is a New Yorker, and obviously at that time everything was very raw. And then one of the top comment on YouTube was like, oh, another phony thing from this fake guy. And it's like, it's just people, I don't know,
nothing is sacred.
Exactly.
Nothing on the internet. Yeah. And that is one of my favorite moments in television history.
Right. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just wanted to kind of air that out.
Okay.
Because I knew all three of us had opinions on it, and
Right.
yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
Yeah. Good talk, Russ.
Yeah. And one final thing about that is it's similar to like what I hate more than that is clips. People posting clips of movies. We've talked about it on the podcast before. I'll link it in the show notes when we talked about Godzilla's leaked footage. But it's just like, who wants to see part of a movie?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. But anyway, how about TV? Can we talk about some TV, guys?
Sure. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah. What time are we at? We're like an hour and a half already, aren't we?
No, we're at about an hour 05.
Okay.
So we've got a little bit of time. But
Fall TV. I'm psyched.
yeah, oh yeah. First, I want to bring up every Simpsons ever. Can we talk about that for a second?
I have not watched a second of it.
Well, it's done now. It was like a week and a half long marathon on FXX. And it's just amazing to me that because it pulled like really, really incredible numbers. It was just 24/7 or 24 like 12, whatever, how many days it was. 24-hour Simpsons episodes nonstop on FXX, just the largest marathon on television in television history.
Did they air it all in chronological order?
Yeah, and they incorporated the movie into it too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and
Chronologically.
yep, and it's. I'm just so it reignited my love for The Simpsons. Like during it, I put in the pod chat. I was like, "Do you guys want to do like a comprehensive Simpsons episode?" And Tiny was like, "I'll have to back out of that one because he's not that."
It's such a daunting thing.
Yeah.
It's the longest running television show ever.
Right.
Like,
And I'm not
like
saying that we have to watch every episode. Even though
I would need to though.
Yeah. But that's fine. Maybe we'll do it eventually. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get Craig from Intermission to come on if he wants to. I don't know. But anyway, hint. Craig, if you're listening, email me. But anyway, so it's really impressive, and it just reignites my love of the Simpsons. I know, Mike, I know you're more partial to the Simpsons. I have nostalgia for it because I grew up watching it in syndication, but I know you're more into it than I am. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
yeah. How did you feel about
Definitely
the
didn't
marathon?
miss the boat on that one.
Yeah.
I'm glad that people flocked to it. Like, it was, because it's a good show. Like, it's a good thing, and I'm glad that, the people at FX were just like, yeah, let's do this. And, like, they didn't really think about the consequences or anything.
Yeah,
and
they
it totally worked.
Yeah, they actually spent, like, how much did they buy the rights for? Because they bought, it was like a huge price. Like, they paid, like, maybe, I almost want to say, like, $1 billion for the syndication rights of every episode of Simpsons.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
552 episodes of TV.
Well, no, I mean, for FX.
Oh, for FXX.
And wasn't it on FXX, too?
Yeah.
For them to have $900 million?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number, but it was a substantial fee for them to get the rights to
I believe
750 million.
750 million.
That is nuts.
Yeah. And
But it's about time. Simpsons
yeah.
hasn't been syndicated in a while
yeah.
that I know of. At least not on a major network.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are local channels that play it, but
Yeah, Fox affiliates played it when I was a kid. But yeah, and it's cool the care that they do it. And to bring it back around to A Million Ways to Die in the West, it's funny because while I was watching that and seeing Seth MacFarlane do his Seth MacFarlane thing, like, I think he's a very intelligent guy. Like, Seth MacFarlane is really intelligent.
Oh, clearly, yes.
But man, he's just the way that his creative endeavors aren't up to par. And you contrast that with Matt Groening. It kind of seems like Seth MacFarlane is, with the amount of stuff that Fox is giving him, they're trying to mold another Matt Groening out of him.
Yeah.
But if you look, I don't think I haven't looked up his filmography or anything, but Matt Groening stayed with The Simpsons for a long time instead of going into movies and stuff like that. I mean, I may be wrong on that, but I mean, he stuck to building The Simpsons instead of, I don't know what I'm getting at, but I know that they had Futurama after a while, but I think is that pretty much the only offshoot of that thing
Of The Simpsons?
of,
I
of
think so, really.
Matt Groening's like
his career.
whatever. Yeah.
I think so.
I feel like he had a few things. I can't think of what they are, but there was Futurama, which was quite successful. And I think you can attribute the kind of the brilliance of it to not just like I can't name the people that Seth MacFarlane works with, and maybe that's just me because I'm not a fan of Family Guy. But like I know the names James L. Brooks and Sam Simon who were on The Simpsons for a long time, and I think it was that team working together that made it what it was.
Yeah, I can name some.
Not to defend Seth MacFarlane, but
right. And I just looked up Matt Groening's writing credits, and it's all Simpsons and Futurama.
Yeah.
And it's funny, just as an aside. It's also it's interesting to talk about it in our culture now, the marathon, because I didn't actually watch any of the marathon. I watched,
oh really?
Yeah, I've been watching.
So who are you to say?
No, I've been watching, and it's because I've been watching it at my own pace and like my DVDs and stuff like that.
We watched a lot of it, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Well, when it hit season 10, we stopped.
Yeah,
and I kind of planned that going in, but
and that's one of the things about me is that my brain is so like I need to see things chronologically. Like if I miss something, even though it's an episodic thing that I've seen millions of times, I want to watch from the beginning to however long I keep my attention on it. So that's why I stuck to DVDs and the like.
I think for me, because I watched Simpsons so much when I was younger and it was always in syndication, I think like the appeal of The Simpsons for me is not just that it's funny, but it's also the nostalgia. So I kind of want to watch it the way I used to watch it, which was not chronologically by any means. Oh
yeah, I watched throughout the entire marathon though. I put it on TV whenever like my nephews were in the room because I want to like force it on them.
Subliminal messaging.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's such a great. Oh my God. When I was watching, I think it was like season 4. There's such a great line. And I wanted to find it on YouTube to post it on Facebook, but I couldn't find it. But Lisa's worried about Homer's weight, and he's watching a commercial for some obscene food thing that Simpsons are so famous for doing, like just decadent, just over the top thing. And in the commercial, they're like rich, creamy butter. And then Lisa's like, "Hey, Dad, have you ever thought about getting subliminal tapes to try to curb your appetite so that it's?" And he's like, "What do they do?" or whatever. And she's like, "Well, it's subliminal messaging so that you hear it, but you comprehend it in your subconscious, and you don't realize that you know it or whatever." And then he's like, "Oh, Lisa, that's such a load of rich, creamy butter." I was like, that is so perfect. That line is like, that's why I love The Simpsons so much.
Very clever.
Yeah. But yeah, so the
Family Guy was never that clever.
No.
Never.
It's as useless as that blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated non sequitur thing that they have probably a backlog of. That they just plug into. And that's another thing about A Million Ways to Die in the West. A lot of it seemed like unconnected jokes that they had like in their writer's room from Family Guy that they wanted to throw in. Like I can't remember any specific nice. Any specific jokes or one-liners or anything because they're not memorable, but it felt like just disconnected things from other things. But enough about A Million Ways to Die in the West. Simpsons are good. I'm glad that it was a success. Hope they do more things like that. It would be awesome if that became kind of a trend, having like big long running marathons. Like
considering they paid $750 million for it, they should do it annually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That'd be so amazing. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah. I wanted to bring up Archer. Have you guys watched Archer at all?
I've watched some of it.
Okay. I started it recently, and it's really funny. That's about it. I don't really have much else to say about it. It's a really funny spy workplace comedy. It's hard to explain. And H. John Benjamin has such an iconic voice. It's so funny. I can't really characterize Archer. as his style, because there's like a scene where there's a bomb defusal scene where the tech guy is talking him through it via a video chat, and he's talking him through it, and there's like, he's like, cut the blue and white wire.
So funny.
It's so funny. I'm not going to recount the entire thing, but there's one thing where he's like, oh yeah, you did this. They're confusing it. They're mixing things up back and forth. And then he's like, okay, cut this wire. And then Archer sits there for like 5 seconds, and he's like, are you ready? It's so dry, but it's so funny.
It's really brilliantly written.
Yeah,
and performed.
it's so great. I'll probably throw that in the show notes and Facebook page.
Archer is the anti-James Bond.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what he is. Like every characteristic of James Bond, he's the polar opposite.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Some TV that I had.
Yes.
Really quick. I don't want to get into a discussion because Matt will go on a tangent.
Go ahead.
Sons of Anarchy.
Oh god damn it. That goddamn show.
Wow.
They had their premiere this week of their final season. It was a pretty solid premiere.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they have go ahead.
They had their premiere. It was kind of a good premiere. I appreciated it. There was a really good montage at the end with a cool cover of a popular song. Yeah, it was
Like every episode ever.
No, they're not all covered.
They have a lot of episodes like that. But that's
they
not
they have montages at most of the end of most of their episodes.
Yeah, which that's not a problem.
A lot of shows do.
Yeah, that's not the problem I have with it.
Yeah. But anyways, so I'm glad that the show is ending. And I hope they hit some high marks for the last season, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And then on to one of my favorite shows. I think I'll kind of be alone here. Is Doctor Who recently started.
Doctor Who.
Yes.
That's how my nephew pronounces it.
Doctor Who.
I force my nephew to say it, and he'll say it at random. He says Doctor Who.
Such a good uncle.
I know.
And it is also the premiere of Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor.
Peter Capaldi, actually.
As the 12th Doctor.
Okay.
And
I shouldn't say anything because I haven't watched it.
Because you never mispronounce names, right?
No. Never.
So Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of the show. I'm really dedicated to it. I just love whenever they transition to a new Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I've been relatively let down by the beginning of this season.
Really?
But it's not Peter Capaldi's fault. I appreciate his performance quite a bit. I think he's hitting his marks. I think it's the writing, which is, this may be the first time I've ever had an issue with the writing in more than like one episode of Doctor Who. 'Cause Stephen Moffat is like the British Aaron Sorkin. He's like untouchably brilliant. Excuse me. But I don't know. It's for some reason, especially the premiere, just did not take me at all. It was, I don't know. I've watched the first 2 episodes. They've had 3 so far. I haven't gotten to the third one yet. But, the first 2, I'm kind of liking how they're evolving the relationship between, Jenna Louise Coleman's character. Gosh, I'm trying to think of a character's name.
Clara
Oswin.
Oswald.
Clara. The relationship between Clara and her coming to terms with the new Doctor. I appreciate their back and forth, especially in the second episode. They've developed it well. And so far the Doctor has been very vulnerable, which is an interesting side of him because he's always such, I mean, they've shown his vulnerability in the past, but he's always just such a rock. Mm-hmm. It's only like over the span of like maybe part of an episode, he'll be a little kind of shaky, but he always comes back and he's the freaking Doctor, right?
Yeah.
But he's been kind of vulnerable. It's an interesting turn. I'm liking it so far, but I'm curious what they're going to do with it. I really hope they beef up the writing. I'm just not crazy about the directions they're taking with the plot and all that stuff so far. But
I've been so busy with f***ing Sandler movies.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to watch any of
Sandler movies? What the hell? Sorry, I haven't said anything in a while.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I've been so busy with the Sandler movies that I haven't had a chance to watch any of the new Doctor Who stuff.
You get busy with the Sandler movies? That wasn't even that funny. I don't know what I'm doing. It's getting late. I'm pulling a Matt here. It's getting late.
But no, I haven't had a chance to watch the new episodes of Doctor Who, and I really want to, but I just haven't gotten around to it, so I have nothing to contribute to that. I did want to say really quickly, going back to Sons of Anarchy, I said this to you in a private chat before, but was the premiere anything like? This is so self-indulgent of me, but anyway, was the premiere of Sons of Anarchy anything like that one episode of the show where the club makes a deal with a nefarious group that will finally end all their problems, but then the deal goes south, and then Jax finds out that, I guess that doesn't really count here, finds out that someone in the club is behind it. I think that episode's title is called Every Sons of Anarchy episode ever.
Did you write that down?
I did. It was in a private chat with me, Tiny. But anyway.
Actually, it wasn't that, so you.
It wasn't?
No. Well, a little.
Really?
Just.
God damn it. I knew it. Anyway, so, if you like Sons of Anarchy, check out The Shield. It's a far superior show. But anyway, so yeah, Doctor Who, I'll check it out eventually and I'll get back to you on that. Yeah. Mike, have you been watching any other TV shows lately?
Nope.
Okay.
No, we take the summer off. We get kind of busy, and I've been kind of busy with school starting up. But our list is longer this year of shows that we're going to watch.
Nice.
We lost How I Met Your Mother, and thankfully we lost Dexter last year.
Breaking Bad.
So here, I'll just go through our list of shows. Basically, Tuesday night is Mike and Amanda night at the house for TV. So, and this is what we're going to try to watch on Tuesday nights. New Girl, we still watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Returning favorite, Modern Family.
Mm-hmm.
Parenthood, we love, and it's going into its final season. I can't wait to see that.
Oh, they're ending it. Okay.
They are ending it, and they know they're ending it, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
How I Met Your Mother knew they were ending it too.
Yeah. Do what?
I just said How I Met Your Mother knew they were ending it too, so.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, go ahead.
And they're as far as Parenthood, they're teasing that this season will have kind of one story arc that will involve the entire family, which is kind of different.
Cool.
I imagine that Zeke is dying. That's my guess. We watched the last 4 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine last season, and so we're going to add that to our queue.
I love that show.
And then actually really excited about Gotham, and I'm not usually excited about these DC shows. I don't care about any of them. I don't watch any of them. I don't even watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I'm not excited about Marvel shows. Mm-hmm. But Gotham looks good. And then the last one is I'm really, really, really psyched on Mulaney's show. Mulaney.
Oh, cool. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Gotham, and we've talked about leaks and stuff like that and keep being in the dark and everything. I've watched nothing regarding Gotham, so I'm going to go in completely blind, and I'm really excited about that. I like the actors involved.
Yeah, I'll go in blind too.
Nice.
I don't know. Should be good.
Cool.
Nice.
There was something else I was going to bring up. Oh yeah, just Sorry.
Weird.
Oh, that's okay.
I really hope it's my microphone cable and not my very expensive microphone.
Yeah. Eesh. But yeah, Boardwalk Empire just premiered their final season. And if you want, we just lost Mike. He doesn't watch Boardwalk Empire, so it's okay. You back?
Yeah.
Okay. So Boardwalk Empire premiered its final season, and I'll talk briefly about it, because if you want a more in-depth discussion about it, check out the website, because I'm reviewing every episode this season, and I reviewed every season previous to it, because I had about a month time span where I just rewatched every episode, and I'm actually kind of proud of myself for actually finishing it on time. It's such a show. So wow, the show is so dense with characters and story that it's so, like, I really wanted to and needed to rewatch the entire series before they started the final season, just so I can get everything together, because it was the first time I'd rewatched it. And also this goes back to our discussion about Horrorhound, because I completely forgot about this. I also got William Forsythe's autograph, who he played Manny Horowitz in season 2 of Boardwalk Empire,
and was in Halloween,
and Devil's Rejects and stuff. But
he was amazing on Boardwalk.
He was so great, and he was so menacing and so cold and just so terrifying in it. It was just such a cool role. Mm-hmm. And I got to talk to him about it, because he was like a late addition to the convention. So like he didn't even have like a big banner or anything. He just had a sheet of paper with William Forsythe written on it, hanging up behind him.
Wow.
So like there was like no one at the table. So I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, big fan of your performance in Boardwalk Empire. Would you mind signing my Blu-ray?" So I had him sign my season 2 Blu-ray and got to talk to him about it. I was like, "Yeah, just that scene. I won't spoil it or anything, but there's a scene toward the end of season 2." At the end of an episode where I'll say this, he's the first actor in the series credited with killing off a main cast member of the show. And the scene is so brutal and so cold. And I was like, I told him just point blank. And I was proud of myself because I didn't like get all weird and stuff like I am now. But I was like, that's one of my favorite moments in the series, and most of it's due to the way that you delivered that line, your final line to her. And it's because it was so cold and so brutal. And he was like, "Oh yeah, thank you." He was very pleased to talk to me and very cool. And he was like, "Yeah, it was kind of a dark show, but." It seemed like he had a good time talking about it, and he seems to be a fan of the show because we got to talking about the final season, and he was like, "Yeah, they've been killing off a lot of characters, so there's really no one left to kill off and everything." I was like, "Yeah, that's true." And then I said that I was a little nervous about them jumping ahead because the final season takes place 7 years after the previous season, which the show is very much steeped in 1920s lore and Prohibition era history. So it's all about gangsters. So there's historic events that tie into the series, and they do it in such a beautiful way that it's so great. And it's such a shame that they had to skip ahead because they have a final season. Like for instance, there's the whole conflict between Al Capone and Dean O'Banion in season 3 and 4 that kind of just played out over 2 seasons, and it was executed executed perfectly. So anyway, so the final season premiered. I got to meet William Forsythe. It was cool. The premiere was really good. You can read my review of it. I've done episode by episode reviews of TV shows, and I'm probably most excited about doing this one because, as I said, it's such a densely populated show with densely populated with character and story that there's so much to write about. Like I spent the last 2 hours of my shift at work writing the review of the premiere, and by the time I got home, I had like 3 other points to make, and I had 900 words written about it. I'm like, it's going to be a fun season. So check that out at obsessiveviewer.com.
Yes, I hope Boardwalk Empire has an extensive legacy.
No, me too.
I kind of hope it pulls kind of like The Wire, where people start discovering it in a couple years, and it's just this massive cult hit on DVD and Blu-ray.
Matt, would you compare it to The Wire?
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest. The Wire is in a class by itself. In terms of viewership, I will because Boardwalk Empire is very underappreciated.
It is.
Like I started my season reviews on the website with the criminally underappreciated, but I wouldn't equate it to The Wire just in fan base alone. It's similar.
And Matt used the word density several times. That is the best adjective. It is so remarkably dense.
Oh yeah,
it is an achievement of a series.
Yeah.
What
did you think of my review, Tiny?
Oh, it was great.
Cool. Yeah.
I liked how you said that thing about that one thing.
Right? Yeah. It was really. He hasn't read it yet.
I haven't read them yet.
But anyway, yeah.
I love the premiere as well. It's one of my favorite episodes so far. The series.
Yeah, and it really helped quell my fears about them jumping ahead because there's historical events that happen in between season 4 and season 5. Like most notably, one of my favorite characters, played by Michael Stolberg, the crime boss guy, Arnold Rothstein.
Yeah.
He was killed in 1928, and they had to skip over it because of the time jump, and that it's such it's a bummer because Stolberg is such a great actor, and he brought such a great performance to that role. And it's just a shame that he didn't get like a good send off. But it seems like his legacy in the show is still going to move on, I guess.
And the Valentine's Day Massacre.
Capone taking out the Southside gang.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's
famous in Chicago.
Right. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that was skimmed over, but I'm glad that they've that they wrote the season knowing it was the final season.
Yeah. It's always a good thing.
Yeah. And Terrence Winter, he said in interviews that they knew about halfway through season 4 that they were going to end it. And I don't see it. That has to be lip service because just having rewatched season 4, and we're going on a tangent. I'm sorry, Mike. I know you don't watch Boardwalk Empire, but
it's okay. The only comment I made was you said you were going to do shortly.
Oh,
did you?
You said I'm gonna talk about this quickly.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway,
okay.
Last thing. Terrence Winter said that halfway through season 4 they were going to end it, but rewatching season 4 they leave so much stuff open.
Mm-hmm.
Like they introduce so many new things. Season 4 was the introduction of J. Edgar Hoover as a character, and they leave it off in such a way that there was more story there. That it was just there's no way, but. I'm hopeful that they'll end it well, and I hope that it has a long legacy, and maybe we'll do a series retrospective when it's over with Tiny.
I'd love to.
Thank you, God. Yeah. So anyway, aside from that, is anything else we want to bring up? We're kind of at 90 minutes about.
I'm set.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy is the greatest show ever.
I will.
It is not close.
Yeah. Is Juice still alive?
He is.
Oh, cool. Because it's not like 4 seasons ago they didn't introduce a thing that would eventually lead to his death, but then they keep...
Yeah.
That show sucks. I hate it so much. It's a white trash soap opera.
Anyways.
Far cry from Hamlet on motorcycles. Anyway.
Wrap her up.
Yeah, should I wrap this up?
Put a bow on her.
Wrap them up.
All right, let me bring up my thing that I still haven't updated. God, and I just realized I've been saying that our email addresses are like our names at obsessiveviewer.com.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot that I made one for the podcast specifically for our podcast email. That's podcast@obsessiveviewer.com.
Oh, Maddie.
I know. I'm just kind of all over the place. All right. By the way, did you guys listen to Sandler 4 yet?
I listened to a little bit of it.
Yeah, I love the ending because I say something and it hits right at the moment that the outro music plays. Anyway, as always, thank you for listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast. If you are in the Indianapolis area, please look into coming to Shocktober in Irvington at the Irving Theater on October 17th. It's going to be such a blast, and we're going to have so much fun. We're going to have a costume contest, raffle, screening short films. We're going to screen Night of the Living Dead, the original. We're going to have live podcasting there. It's going to be so much fun, and please don't miss out. And tell all your friends about it, please. And thank you to Loud Like for providing our awesome opening theme music. Their first EP is called Mistakes We Must Make and features our theme song and a clips of events if you want to hear the full song. It's really good, and they're really awesome. Make sure to rate and review us and Loud Like on iTunes. It really helps us out a lot and gives us a sense of what's working and what's not working that well. And please like our Facebook page at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer. Posting a lot of things there. That's where you can interact with us the most direct way possible. That and also Twitter. You can find us each at I'm Matt at Obsessive Viewer. Tiny is at Obsessive Tiny, and Mike is at I am Mike White. You can also check out the blog at obsessiveviewer.com, which I've mentioned for like half an hour in this episode that I'm doing episode reviews of Boardwalk Empire, and I did season reviews before that. I'm also planning, hopefully, maybe doing a franchise review of Nightmare on Elm Street for Shocktober. So hopefully that pans out, but I don't know. We've got a lot going on. As I mentioned, Shocktober in Irvington. Also, check out our sister site at obsessivebooknerd.com, where we have book reviews and commentary on the evolving world of reading. We have a lot of cool stuff there, a lot of really good books that you can check out and everything. Also, check out Tiny Side Project, The Secular Perspective. It's a podcast dedicated to the discussion and debate about religion and secularism in the world today. You can find that at thesecularperspective.com or at Secular Perspective on Twitter. That's also available on iTunes and everywhere else. Rate and review it on iTunes also. And finally, if you have any thoughts on the podcast or suggestions for future topics, or you want to share your thoughts on some things we talked about in the form of an audio file, you can send it to us. Individually, you can reach us, Matt at obsessiveviewer.com, Tiny at obsessiveviewer.com, and Mike at obsessiveviewer.com. Or if you just want to send a message to the podcast as a whole, podcast at obsessiveviewer.com. that about does it. Any last words?
Yeah, if we could just put a little tag on here. Like I said earlier, my brother asked for a kind of a comprehensive list of the essential Shocktober movies he should watch. Just quickly, what would be yours to suggest to him? Give me one each, one or two each.
I would say Saw.
Okay.
And probably I hate to say it, but Halloween, because I know it's your favorite movie ever.
Okay.
I'd go with, in terms of the season, Trick or Treat and Scream.
Okay.
Nice.
How about you, Mike?
Well, my list is like 20 long.
What's your top two?
The two essentials would be probably... this we don't have the time for this because I have a whole thing, to be honest with you guys.
Okay.
Do we have the time for this?
No, not really.
Throw it into our first Shocktober episode.
Yeah. We'll
I'll save
it.
it.
For then. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Stay tuned next week or 3 weeks from now, whenever we do our Shocktober #1 episode. I'll reveal my top picks for Halloween movies for Kevin.
Love it.
Sweet. All right. Well, that about does it.
There will be a surprise. You might be surprised.
Cool.
Looking
forward to it.
Awesome. All right. Well, that about does it. Thanks for listening, guys.
Love you guys.
Thanks.
I like you guys as friends. All right.
Hold on a second, guys.
Okay.
Hey, dogs, if you could kindly shut the up.
Oh.
Waldo!
Just imagine him barking and saying, "What?"
He's actually saying, "Go yourself." Sorry, go ahead.
So anyways,
yeah.